first speaker on today is one of Scotland's main political activists, Joshua Brown, who's going to come on and tell us just how fucked up the world is, and what we can actually try and do to try and change that.
Okay, on my way over here this evening I was thinking about Israel, because if you're wearing an anonymous mask, you might think that certain members of the state wouldn't recognize you, but they're trying to overcome that with help from Israel. Glasgow City Council has contracted £12 million with a company called NICE Systems, N-I-C-E, and they have a very highly advanced CCTV system which is being piloted here in Glasgow, owned by Glasgow City Council and administered by former Mossad agents from Israel. This is their company. And what these CCTV cameras do is they analyze the way you walk. They analyze your clothes, your height, your build, and they log that, and they track you through the city from one CCTV camera to another without necessarily even overlapping. So it builds a profile with a piece of software that's called Suspect Search. Glasgow City Council is working with Mossad, Israeli Special Services murderers, in order to demonize people walking through the city centre, whether you have a mask on or not. That's the kind of administration that we are being subjected to here, who will spend millions of pounds on spying on us when we're not doing anything illegal or wrong, while cutting crucial services to the people who need them most in this city. I won't say too much about that because my sister Marion is going to come out and say some more. What I wanted to talk a little bit about is the priorities of this government that we are facing here today. I am not willing to wait until the 2020 election to get rid of this Tory government at Westminster. I'm not willing to do that, because if you just look at what has happened in this country over the past 3 months, it will give you a little bit of urgency about how we need to accelerate the process of getting rid of the Etonians and the cabinet of millionaires. In the beginning of September, David Cameron welcomed Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, a sociopath, a psychopath, a cold-blooded murderer. Netanyahu is murdering Palestinian men, women, and children. In the 51 days war last summer, he murdered over 2,200 Palestinians inside the world's largest open-air prison called Gaza. And what happened as a result of that? David Cameron increased military exports to Israel. In the year, including the 51 days war on Gaza, the British government licensed £40 million worth of trade in military hardware and maintenance alone to the state of Israel, as a gesture of goodwill, saying that murdering Palestinian men, women and children would not interrupt the flow of capital and the trade of arms with a despotic dictator and murderer like Netanyahu. That's the beginning of September. In the beginning of October, David Cameron bid host to a man called Xi Jinping, the president, the dictator of China. One of the global leaders in human rights abuses and environmental destruction was welcomed without criticism, because China is now the #2 country in the world that Britain takes imports from, and they're looking to increase exports to. So they don't want to talk about human rights abuses. They don't want to talk about the subjugation of democracy, the free will of workers. They don't want to talk about Foxconn, where your iPhone is made, where workers were so desperate they were jumping out the windows of the factory, and the owners of the factory decided in their great humanity that they would put up nets outside the windows to catch the workers before they plunged to their desks and put them back to work on the assembly line. That is the dystopian reality in China, where David Cameron wants to do more trade and have closer relations. So that was September, and then October, and then right now The VIP visitor to the UK is Cameron's other best friend, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the military dictator of Egypt, who has imprisoned hundreds of activists and journalists, passed death sentences against journalists for exposing what he's doing in the country. But he's very welcome to come to 10 Downing Street and sign arms deals. That's not a problem to David Cameron, because they always have money for bosses and bankers and bombs and building fences on borders, but they can't seem to find the money that's required in order to help ordinary human beings with disabilities who are unemployed, who are looking for ways to welcome refugees. People who are trying to build peace are the enemy of this Westminster government, and we need to do something about it. That's what democracy looks like. It's not about tolerating elected officials. It's about getting rid of the people who do not represent our interests and replacing them with people who do. I don't think we need any MPs at Westminster, because they've never done a goddamn thing for ordinary people in this country. We need to bring them back and start to build in our communities. We need to build strength in our workplaces. Just yesterday, a worker at the School of Oriental and African Studies, a racist named university in London, was reinstated after the egregious crime of standing in solidarity with students in occupation who are trying to stop massive cuts to their programs at the university. So the students occupied the university. I think that's the right thing to do. If you want to save a service, don't let it go. Don't let the doors close. Stay inside. Force it to happen. And so this worker, Sandy Nicol, went inside to support the students. He's a staff member at the university, a member of the Unison Union. The university sacked him on the spot, but his trade union voted for immediate strike action and walked out the door. Why? Because Sandy Nicol stood in solidarity with cleaners at that university who come from Latin America, who are being paid a penance wage, and he fought for them to win a living wage, and they remember that. And when they came for Sandy Nicol, they came for every one of the students and every one of the workers in that university, and they stood shoulder to shoulder, and within days Sandy Nicol had his job back. So the Tories can pass as many laws as they want to make strikes illegal or to try and shut down services that people rely on, but if we demand that those things continue, when we act collectively, when we stand together and we act together, we actually have the power to run this place. That's the thing they would like us to forget. That's the thing that we need to leave here tonight remembering. Because when they roll back the welfare state, when they roll back everything that ordinary working class people rely on to survive, it's going to take generations to build it back, like it took generations to get it in the first. So let's not let it be taken away. Let's say from tonight, we are going to protect the things that we need to survive, that we're going to turn the clocks forward again, away from these Tory toffs and the millionaire cabinet, and we are going to protect the things that will make a better life for the next generation. I'm not going to accept the next generation getting worse off because a bunch of millionaires have hijacked the government. We in this crowd and we in this working class city have the ability to change the course of history and put it back on track for ordinary working class people, and I think we should go away and find ways to build the unity and the strength required in order to do that. Thank you very much.
Yes! Well said!
Excellent, right, aye. Right, I'm not as fabulous as Josh, right, because I've got notes, because I'm dyslexic and I'm dead nervous, and this stuff's too important. This stuff is too important that I don't get up here and go blank and just start talking nonsense. So if you'll just bear with me, and I'll stick to the notes, or I'll try to anyways.
Go for it.
Right, my name's Marion and I'm from Govan Hill. I'm a member member of Disabled People Against Cuts, and I'm an unemployed disabled worker. Over the last few years, we've seen a blatant ideological and financial attack on disabled people. This coordinated attack by Westminster and the media has seen a vilification of vulnerable groups and negative labelling like scroungers and skivers being attached to some of the most vulnerable citizens. The rise of poverty porn like Benefit Street helping to normalise these negative labels, subjecting disabled folk to the humiliation in the work capability assessment, sanctions, and leading to the embarrassment of vulnerable people having to depend on food banks provided by charity. That's a whole other thing. I've not got time to go into it, but charity, big question mark over it, right? DPAC demands an end to the work capability assessment. It's been condemned by the British Medical Association, the Royal College of Nursing, and it's described as detrimental to patients' well-being. 73 people die each week waiting on their benefit to be reinstated. I'm going to repeat that. 73 people a week are dying waiting on their benefits being reinstated. And here's just one example. A guy called David Barr, aged 28, a young man from Fife, with severe mental health issues, threw himself off the Forth Road Bridge when his benefit was removed after a work capability assessment and he was deemed fit for work. His family were informed by the Department of Work and Pensions that the decision had been a mistake, and they were awful sorry, and David's benefits would have been reinstated on appeal. But guess what? David was dead. How many of our young people are we going to lose to suicide? If you want to do something about it, we're down in Cadogan Street on the last Friday every month, informing folk about their rights and signposting them to agencies that can help. We hope to build more of a presence down there. So if any of you are interested, I'm going to go and sit over there. Come and speak to me. Glasgow City Council have joined in on this attack by reducing the budgets for social care by millions. The closure of learning disability centres, the Charlie Reid Centre, cuts to elderly, addiction, homelessness, mental health services and other cuts has caused the loss of thousands of jobs and is causing chaos and misery for the most vulnerable citizens.
We're being called.
We've seen the introduction of self-directed support and personalisation become a Trojan horse, allowing Glasgow City Council to inflict cuts, closures and introduction of service charges, resulting in carers and disabled people being sent final demand letters for services that they previously got for free.
Hold on.
A growing number of disabled and elderly people are being left isolated.
Take a breath. Hold on.
I can still hear you.
As the cost of care services overtakes their meagre benefits. Care provision is in a race to the bottom in this city, and it's becoming patchy and unreliable.
Right, we can still hear you, don't worry.
They've just announced a further 103 million in cuts and a further 3,000 jobs to be axed. I work for Glasgow City Council, Social Work Department, and I used to be proud of the job that we done. I don't know what's happening in their social work offices, but us folk in the community need to be supporting the workers. Austerity, it's class war, and don't let them tell you anything else. We need to join the fight. Join or start an anti-austerity group in your local area. Castlemilk Against Austerity is a good example of folk with different political ideologies coming together to fight. They're doing a weekly stall at their shopping centre and they're supported by a drop-in surgery at Castlemilk Law Centre. I'm nearly finished on this, folks. We have a rich history of resistance in Scotland, from the women of the Highland clearances, battering eviction officers and and withholding rent. The 1915 rent strike, Helen Crawford was one of the organisers, and she was a member of the Women's Housing Association, formed in 1914 to combat the appalling housing conditions, with 70% of Glaswegians living in 1 or 2 rooms, usually in slum conditions, and a government and a media labelling working class people as lazy drunkards. I hope this is sounding familiar to you. It was 100 years ago, and they're doing exactly the same thing to us.
Right now.
She described it. This fight is essentially a women's fight, but we welcome the solidarity of all. We're not asking for mercy, we're not asking for charity, we're asking for justice. That's the same social justice that the women and the men fought for, and the miners' strike, the poll tax, the Glasgow girls ending child detention in Scotland, and the bedroom tax, which I am a proud member of the Anti-Bedroom Tax Federation. Why did all these things win? They won because we had a refusal to accept the scapegoating of migrants, asylum seekers and other vulnerable groups, and we had a common sense of justice. We strive to end profiteering and welfare and health. People in poverty do not need your sympathy, they do not need your charity, they need justice, and if we have no justice we have no peace. As a working class disabled woman who struggles to stay on her feet due to a spinal injury, my favourite quote is taken from the memorial down in the Clydeside for those who fought in the Spanish Civil War against fascism. And I think it sums up how many of us feel, and it helps me when I'm feeling battle weary. And the quote is, better to die on your feet than live forever on your knees. Do not let political or cultural differences divide you. I've got pals that are socialists, pals that are anarchists, pals that are anon. We all need to stop fucking fighting with each other and work in your community. Keep fighting, and thanks for listening.
You're welcome. They're on the side of the establishment. Marion got it absolutely right. What it's all about is about the establishment impoverishing the working class, and we have to engage in the class war to fight it and defeat it through redistribution of income and wealth. Now, let me say this to you. A woman called, forget her name, but a woman, I forget her name, a woman called Philip Malloy was a young man from the Scottish Resistance who lost his job and was sanctioned. He threw himself into the River Clyde in March. Eleanor, that was the lady's name, had brain cancer and she was past fit to work. And she died of brain cancer 5 weeks after she was past fit to work. This is what's happening in our society. We had Mark Woods, a man of 43 who was past fit to work. He died weighing 5 stone 6 pounds. He died of starvation. And it's all because of these sanctions, all because of the cuts that these Tory bastards are inflicting on us day in and day out. The real criminals in our society today are the millionaires, are the Tories. Make no mistake, they are the class enemy, and they're the ones we have to fight. Yes! And I will say this, for us to get, at the moment in Britain today and in Scotland, we have 870,000 people living in poverty. We have 200,000 children who will be in poverty by the year 2020. We have tens of thousands of people being sanctioned day in, day out, and their only benefits been taken off them. I say this, we need another referendum in 2017 to give independence to to establish a socialist and a socially just society. We cannot wait to see working class people be squeezed to death, and we need that social justice now, and let's get our independence and our socialist Scotland.
Thank you.
Sorry guys, this march has nothing to do with independence. I'm sorry if that upsets any of you, but that's not the unknown way at all.
Don't worry about it.
Right, next up to talk, we've got Ben from the Glasgow Anarchist Collective.
Just want to say thank you to Anonymous for inviting us to speak, and it's great to see so many people coming out to try and make a difference. Basically, inspired by the Spanish collectives during the 36 social revolution, the Glasgow Anarchist Collective believe that the best chance we have of defeating capitalism and creating a fair society lie in the values of mutual aid and solidarity. We are disgusted at the lies and deceit which are endlessly spun from the mouths of government ministers and their pals in big business. Since when has business cared about anything except making profits, and at whose expense? The ordinary people of Glasgow feel the pain of those policies directly. We live in an age of disinformation like no other.
Oh yeah.
Our children are taught what the ruling class want us to know and no further. The media has long been controlled by the business community, and they endlessly show us a world that is tailored to their interests, not ours. This society we are forced to live in promotes selfishness as a good thing. A society where you are judged by the number and what type of consumer goods you own. These are the status symbols of our time, and you can see it happening in the next generation too. The police are also conditioned to protect the interests of the rich and powerful. And if you go against the status quo, if you stand up for what is right, they intimidate you, they silence you. As long as we live in a society with these values, things will only get worse. As long as we live in a society founded on greed, we will leave the rich getting richer and the poor will continue to suffer. Anyway, sorry about that.
Alright.
We will have more food banks, more humiliation heaped onto the disabled in job centres, more poverty and more destruction in our communities. And at GAC we've had enough of this. We believe that there is no use in trying to reform something that responds too slowly to the real situation on the ground. There simply isn't any more time for the people being hardest hit by the cuts, and there's much more to come. So how do we fight back? We believe that people should build their own collectives where they live and learn how to work together to make their communities healthier places to live. A collective is simply a way of organising that gives everyone an equal say in what the group does, where everyone's voice is heard, where things are agreed through a process of consensus, not simply rammed through like so many pieces of legislation are. A collective is a living thing that is unique to the area it is formed in, as each part of Glasgow has its own unique history and problems to overcome. But this means changing the way that we think, and it means getting out onto the streets like we are tonight, meeting each other face to face like we are tonight. It means supporting the vulnerable when they're being persecuted in job centres. It means learning new skills that will give us the confidence to change things. There's way more of us than there is in the privileged minority that rule us. They know this and they fear us. We hope that ordinary people will be inspired by what we all do and learn how to grow their own food, build their own community resources, learn about the common good, learn about their radical history and the struggles that have gone on before that are hidden from us. We can take control of our communities. We can challenge the elite's notions of the right to rule us. We don't have to accept the class war that is this so-called austerity. It's only by making direct contact with people on a regular basis and committing yourself to action that we can achieve anything. History has shown us this time and time again. If we learn the skills to do things for ourselves, then we also learn in the process that we don't need a centralised, remote government telling us what to do. We don't need bosses in the workplace telling us what to do. They only exist because we let them. We have the power in our hands to create the society that we all feel in our hearts. It starts with a simple change in our thinking, a conversation with our neighbour, joining a local group or starting your own. Can you imagine what would happen to Glasgow if collectives sprang up everywhere? Collectives where no single person could dominate because everyone tried hard to agree with things as a whole, as a group. We are the seeds of the social revolution. All we need to do is act. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got no soul, no heart. It's one thing we got, it's one thing you've got. All our kids sing, all our youngsters, oh, to survive. Westminster, I hope you choke when you close your eyes. All you did was take and take, never keep fight. When away, I'm eating guts, and that's who you look. All you do is keep me waiting. I think the guitar might be out of tune, so I'm sorry if you had to put up with that.
Hello, Anand. So I really should have. Thank you. I really should have made this speech when you all first arrived, but as usual, I'm running fashionably late. So it's good to see you all here tonight, and this is a global march. We're joining 9,000 cities across the globe. It's one of the biggest annual marches in the world, and I'm so proud that Glasgow can be a part of it tonight, and I'm so proud to see so many people here with white masks on. White masks! So we're here today because we've got so much going on in the world, but for me personally, last year we came here and it was more, we just finished the referendum debate and we wanted to get away from that. On the 6th of November we created the group Anonymous Movement Glasgow, and from then we have been very active. I met strangers last year, I didn't know a single person when I came, and now I've met friends for life. Some of those friends have become closer than friends, they're family, and that is something so unique. We've unified in so many ways, and we've got involved in so many different campaigns. And what I love about the Glasgow Anonymous group is how we can stand in unity and solidarity with different organisations for the same goal. We can ultimately come together, and that is where we need to unify. This is where politics divides us. This is where Anonymous has the idea that we're all equal, we're all one. No party politics is going to work. It's going to divide us all. We're never going to agree on one party. We all need to come together, and like we had Ben over here talk about coming in collectives and working as communities, and we've really lost that sense of community now. Most people are on this isolated journey, but we're starting to wake up a wee bit, aren't we? We're really starting to get there, and we're starting to unite. We're starting to see that there's issues going on, not just in this country, but across the world, and it's in our name. So we have to make a stand. We have to make a stand against the people down south. We also have to hold Holyrood accountable, which right now not many people in Scotland are doing. They are keeping very quiet and fracking child abuse that's happening in Scotland. We need to also question why Westminster, out of 63 million people, we cannot find one person to lead an inquiry into child abuse, because the scandal is that massive that they can't find anybody connected that will keep the lid on the magnitude of the situation. And we've got 130 convicted MPs and politicians and councillors. That's the ones that are convicted. We've got 24 sitting in Parliament just now, and these are the kind of sadistic people that are ruling us. They've got some sort of power over us, that are deciding our children's futures. These people shouldn't be in power. They shouldn't be deciding decisions for this country or in other countries. We shouldn't be invading other countries. We should be welcoming refugees. Welcome them. We are human beings. We are one. These borders that we put up, these borders and political systems in different countries, they're man-made. They don't exist. There's one planet, and we're all human beings, part of one race. We need to get rid of the division. We need to get rid of the ruling elite that oppresses us, that pumps propaganda into us, that puts fear, that makes us consumers, that has turned us isolated. We need to wake up from that, and we really, really, really need to get going on really fixing the issues, social issues, financial issues. We need to get together and we need to work. So we need to communicate. So get online, get networking, because that's about the only freedom we have right now is the internet. That is where we can connect over the internet. So this is where we should be using it, because at the minute, although we're censored, although everything's monitored, it's the best way of getting information about. It's the best way to connect. It's the best way to share. It's the best way for us to unify as one human race, not as separate countries, not as nationalists, not as division in different groups, political parties, but we need to unify as one. And that's what I love about Anonymous, is because we've got one goal. When we put this mask on, it doesn't matter who's behind that mask, what their identity is, what religion, creed, what they follow. We become one, we become equal. We become equal. It's a sign of unity. So I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And we have got a wee plan. We're not going to do a march because nobody's going to be at the BBC. But we have got a plan. We're not going to keep it quiet because we know the spies over there are listening in. We're not, but we will be making our way to City Chambers. We will be making our way because they've got a lot to answer to in Glasgow City Centre, especially just now, a lot to answer for. And just before I go, I've spoken a wee bit about Anonymous, but personally I want to go over a few events that we have covered. One in particular, which has been, in my opinion, and a lot of the collective in Glasgow's opinion, the most successful event, Op Stock and Roll. was inspired by the Love Activists, another organisation down in London. They were going around in winter setting up a soup kitchen and feeding the homeless, uniting and feeding the homeless, providing entertainment, providing shelter. All through the winter they didn't give up. They were moved about and from city to city they were banned, but they continued at it. They got donations and it really, really made a difference, and it really, really inspired us to come up here and, you know, to do something similar because of the situation. I don't think people realise how bad the homeless situation in Glasgow is. So we decided to come together and put together Op, Stock and Roll, and we'll occupy this George Square for 48 hours. We don't need permission from Glasgow City Council. We don't need permission from them. They've tried to come. Every time we set up an event, they tried to come and take us down, as well as Police Scotland, or they try and compromise our set up, but we don't move. The only way we will move is if they drag our items and us in the back of a police van, because we are here to help people. We occupy this square for 48 hours and we give out food, we provide entertainment, and we have some spare tents and shelters and food and home. So it's really been the same kind of members that have been attending, and we really want to get the numbers up in Op, Stock and Roll and continue this as the winter and it gets colder and the winter's coming in. So I really want to put a shout out. At the end of November we're hoping to get another one set up in this square, and I want to say as many people as possible get a tent and pitch up with us for the weekend. Pitch up and feed the homeless, because this is what we're all about, helping each other out. And do you know why? And you see, when speaking to the homeless people, do you know, I think they help me more than I help them, because what they give me I could never have given them. They really, really, it was such a humbling experience. It was actually quite life-changing, and it made me question a lot of things in myself. So it would be a great opportunity for everybody to get involved and coming along, or even for a couple of hours and join us at the end of this month. We will set a date on the page. Also, I would like to point out with the Op, Stock and Roll that it is all voluntary, so any food donations, anything like that. We've also got Maryhill Food Bank here collecting donations. And I do apologise for jumping between topics, I'm not a very confident speaker. But the Op, Stock and Roll is one of our most successful events. It was absolutely amazing. We've done 3 of them. We've done 2 in George Square. Unfortunately we had to move one on the day of the on the weekend of the Orange Fest. We moved to Glasgow Green, where there was some risks, and as you can probably see in our gazebo we've got a couple of slashes. A few folks tried to come at us with machetes, but we still didn't move. We stayed there for the 48 hours. So we did, and we helped as many people as we can. And the reason why Op, Stock and Roll is so important in this city is because after speaking to the homeless people, what the police do, what these scumbags over here do, what they do is they wait at the registered soup kitchens for the homeless people to get them with their warrants, to get them with their fines, to get them so these people can't go and get a hot meal as we're told. They don't have a hot meal because they have to avoid. And another time I'll mention with the Police Scotland standing over there. During our 48 hours while we occupied the square, we met one gentleman who was one of the nicest men I have ever met. He was just so appreciative. He stayed with us for the full 48 hours, apart from during the day where he went to beg to get some money together. And he got a fine. He got a fine for begging. And you see, when I spoke to him, it wasn't the fine that bothered him. It wasn't the fine. What he said, he felt humiliated. The way they treated him in the middle of the street on a busy Saturday afternoon. They treated him, they flung him against the wall, they emptied his pockets. They called him homeless scum. He was worthless. There was nothing. And that's when we reduced him to a grown man to tears in front of me. And do you know what we done? What we done was we went and paid the fine off for him, because that would have been his weeks. That would have been his weeks. and is weeks begging, sitting in the cold to pay off a fine just so he can feed himself. Well, we've got all the big corporations, all the big supermarkets flinging away their food in bins, and it's still illegal to go skipping. And it's scandalous that they're allowed to do this. It's scandalous. We need to put a stop to this. So Ops Stock and Roll is really important during this winter. We want to keep it going and we want to make it regular, but we need as many people participating as possible in it. So I want to see the square filled with tents. I want to see so many soup kitchens set up, and I don't care what Police Scotland say, I don't care what Glasgow City Council say. This is our square, this is our square, and it belongs to every single one of us, and the homeless are one of us as well. They're no different. And just before I end the speech, the stereotypical homeless that you'll see, or the drug addicts, alcoholics, they're not. I met a computer analyst. I met a talented rapper that rapped freestyle. He was amazing. He was just amazing, the talent on him, and he was living on the streets with no prospects. I'll tell you one more story before we go. Where I lived, a guy came in every single day and we spoke for a bit and we got quite friendly, and he would always come in and buy his munchies, you know what for, but he would come in and buy his munchies and we'd have a wee chat. And the last time we done Ops Stock and Roll in the summer, I seen him, and he's from Ayrshire, and I says, what are you doing up this way? And he says, do you know, I left everything, I gave everything up because I had a job in London and I went down and it didn't work out, and we had no money to get back up, so I had to go to some organisation to get bus fare to come back up. And this guy's worked all his days, he's paid his taxes, and when he arrived in Glasgow he expected some help, and he'd been sent to 6 different government office buildings and not one person was there to offer him help. And just by chance, that was close to my heart. That was somebody that I knew. That was somebody that it could be it was just a reminder that anybody could be in that situation. One minute he was coming into the shops, talking away, next minute he's on the streets and nobody's there to help him. And Glasgow City Council, we've got all these organisations apparently set up to help, and every time they go into the building they'll just say, there's nothing we can do for you, you need to go over here. They'll go to the next building, there's nothing we can do for you, you need to go over there. And they don't get any help at all. So really, see if you see somebody, and don't judge, don't look down, give them a helping hand, go and get some hot food in this cold weather, and let's get some Ops Stock and Roll set up and get it regularly done in this city because we need it. And thank you all for coming, I really appreciate it, it's really, really humbling to see everybody here.
Wake the fuck up, people! Wake the fuck up!
Maggie!
Maggie! Maggie!
400 years ago, did a great citizen wish to embed the 5th of November forever in our memory. His hope was to remind the world that fair fairness, justice, and freedom are more than words, that they are perspectives. So if you cease from nothing, if the crimes made of this government remain unknown to you, then I would suggest that you allow the 5th of November to pass unmarked. But if you see what I see, if you feel as I feel, and if you see as I see, then I must just send the same on the age of outside the gates of Parliament, and together we shall give them a 5th of November that shall never, ever be forgotten.
There were police, there was a van over there.
You're talking me?
Actually, see if you have a spare bag for me now.
Okay, I'm running in towards the food bank. It's just over to my left. For those that haven't done it, do what you can. We don't demand it. Do what you can when you can. And it's not just tonight, folks. You need to remember that every time you visit places like Glasgow, there are people around you in need. Just give it when you can. This is a song from me to Anonymous, to the homeless, to everyone. But it's a cover song. You might all know it. I developed it into a guitar style, so I hope you all enjoy it. Your smart mouth, drawing me in and kicking me out. You got my head spinning, no kidding, just can't pin you down. What's going on in a beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy, don't know what it means, but I'll be alright. My head's under water, but I'm breathing fine. You're crazy and I'm out of my mind. 'Cause part of me lies part of you. All your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfection. Give your all to me. You're mine. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose and win, and I'll give you all my need. And you give me how many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful. The world keeps beating you down. I know
everything. You're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. And start singing, it's ringing in my head for you. My head's underwater, but I'll move on. Oh, crazy and I'm out of my mind. 'Cause all of me lies all of you. All the curves and all the edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I give that all. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose and win, I give you all I need. And you give me all I need. Oh, give me all you. The cards on the table, we're both showing out, risking it all, though it's hard. 'Cause all of me lies on you. All your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. Give your all to me, I'll give my all to you. You're my end and my beginning. Even when I lose a minute, no matter what, I give you all of me. You give me all of you, and I give you all of me. And you give me all of you. Is there any more speakers? Any more speakers? Where is he? Where's the guy in charge? Is there any more speakers? Hello? Staff? I don't know, anybody? Is there any more speakers? Oh, well done, our song, eh? Need his answer. Eh? Another song, eh? Right. Jimmy, it's like Johnny Cash. Oh, yes! I'll give you a cover song that he did with the 9 Inch Nails. Hot, if you all like that one. But I kind of rocked it there a wee bit. So I hope you like the style. To see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The neon tears apart, that old familiar steel, try to kill it all away, but I of time.
Oh, boo! We're wrapping up anyway, guys.
My peace. Not disturbing my peace.
No disturbing my peace.
Not disturbing my peace.
We didn't ask for your assistance.
He's not disturbing my peace. He's not disturbing my peace. Who complained? Who gave the complaint?
Who phoned you guys?
Who phoned? Who complained? Somebody must have complained about his smell. It's a mine of nothing. What's what you're saying? We're joining. Who are we then? Might as well know who you are. One account. I've got there, aye, everybody look, it's make it even up into your plastic mask and got his bag back. So he does. The poor lad, he's missed his goal. What's that?
By a lonely prison wall, I held in Glasgow. I could have taken years away, but you stayed to the sky. Holding on my feet and more.
No walls have been broken here.
Watch this small free bird fly. We have things songs to sing. It's only in fields of happy only prison wall. I have a young man going. Nothing matters better when you're free. Against the fun and the pain, I rebuilt it on the day. Now you must raise your child with dignity. Oh, while the fields of up and right, now life we watch the smoke. Free birds fly. Can I let the on the road?